Life is hard. You deal from strength, or you get crushed every time. Best a kid learns this lesson early. Another important one is that we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. And that applies to everything, including our superpowers. Oh, you don't have any superpowers? That's too bad. In this world, most people do. About 80% of people, to be precise. Including these guys. The Iron Warrior. Mr. Big Swinging Fire Hose. Jim Carrey's The Mask, in introvert form. And Ooh Mama! Though since none of the economic or material problems of our society are actually addressed by being able to slap each other about at a higher intensity, superpowers soon found their way into the world of petty crime and beyond, and life continued pretty much as it did before. But you have no powers, you say? Well, that's okay. You're still in fine company. This kiddo, for instance, his name's Midoriya. He doesn't have a superpower of his own, but he's a big fan of those who do. And his life's work is to figure it all out.
What's that, fanboy? You taking notes over there? Want to be a hero too, huh?
Yes, more than anything.
Well, it's always good to dream, you know. Perhaps in the not-too-distant future, there might even be technological solutions to the problems of superhuman disability. Why, this world won't even suffer from what you might call syndrome.
When everyone's super, no one will be.
Because that's basically already happened here. Midoriya's class are all stoked to go into careers in cape shit. Most of all, this douchebag, Bakugo. He's counting on going to Superhero Oxbridge, coding a superhero fart app, and selling it to superhero Mark Zuckerberg for $100 billion normal dollars. Yup, UA High School is the place for high flyers like him to rise above the muck. Midoriya replied too. Bakugo considers the thought of this powerless chump sullying his grand achievement with his existence and takes it poorly.
Here's a little word of advice, nerd. Don't even think of applying, or else.
As a final kick in the nuts, Bakugo suggests there might be one way to get powers. KYS and respawn. Midoriya gets mad, but not that mad. Meanwhile, on the street, life remains hard for a man made of snot. So he resorts to a little light purse snatching. But the good people of Japan need not worry. Roid Man is here! Later, Midoriya fishes his stuff out of the sewer and reflects on where it all went wrong. Ever since he was but a tot, he idolized those with powers. First amongst them, All Might, the pillar of peace and justice. He couldn't wait to get a power of his own.
Sorry, kid, it's not gonna happen.
Ooh, buddy. Back in the present, while still refusing to abandon hope, he walks straight into trouble. Snot Guy needs to hide from the law for a bit, and where better than in someone's throat. He's rudely interrupted. It's Roid Man, by which I mean All Might, who proceeds to literally slap the snot out of him. Wakey wakey! All Might says thanks for helping him catch this dirty crook.
Stay out of trouble! See you around!
Midoriya decides not to waste his chance to ask his many questions, so he hangs around a bit. Hey, stop trying to push me off, he says. I'll fall down and die.
Oh, that's a good point.
They hit a rooftop. Midoriya asks if he can become a hero without power. But something's very wrong. Midoriya describes how he's always dreamed of being just like, Eddie the Ed from Iron Maiden? I mean, who among us has not? So yeah, this is his true form. The big tough guy look and fearless smile, all an act to hide that he's just an ordinary bloke. But it gets worse. In a fight some years back, much of his insides got blasted to hamburger. That's not the sort of thing you recover from, superpowers or not. He can only stay hulked out and keeping the peace for about 3 hours a day. All Might swears Midoriya to secrecy. Word that he's weakening will see all sorts of vermin finding the courage to crawl from the shadows. Having given a taste of what he's up against, he answers Midoriya's question. No. Without powers, you can't be a hero. You just aren't on the same level as what you'll face. Dream-crushing quota almost filled for the day. He heads off to deliver a bottle of snot into the Kleenex of justice. Snot Guy accidentally gets freed by Bakugo, and once again goes straight for his unique new twist on the classic hostage situation. The guys we saw earlier take their shot. Iron Warrior tries the Power Fist, but punching a big blob of goo goes about how you'd expect. In desperation, Bakugo fires off his power. Explosions! To similar effect. The big girl suffers her one weakness. Her hips are too dummy thick to fit down Japan's narrow streets. The Mask and Mr. Hose are also otherwise engaged. All Might and Midoriya independently find themselves in the audience. Midoriya recognizes that this guy being back on the scene is basically his fault, and that if Bakugo dies here, that'll be his fault too. So he acts. What's he gonna do? Hell, not even he knows! But he ain't gonna be doing nothing. Truly inspired by this act of genuine heroism, All Might digs that extra bit deeper and finds what he needs to finish the job. After seeing that Snot Guy is pressure washed off the street properly this time, we learn that Bakugo is the very model of humble gratitude.
I was fine by myself! I don't owe you anything!
And that All Might is, for real, big time impressed. So impressed, in fact, that he wants to take Midoriya on as his successor. His power is called One for All, and it's rather out of the ordinary. For a start, he wasn't born with it. He was given it by someone else. And taking it on comes with a hefty price.
Okay, I'll do it. Yes!
Wait, I haven't told you what it is yet. So here's the deal. He has to get buff first. A scrawny little punk like Midoriya can't just take it on straight away. He'll blast himself to chicken nuggets the first time he tries to use it. And since he's putting in all that ball-busting effort anyway, it may as well contribute to saving the Earth. In addition, a study guide to unbuffen his brain. And with that, we're ready for a montage. Perhaps that was a little too much montage. Nonetheless, by exam day. Fucking A! One beach cleaned up, precisely on time. Here's how he was.
Look how far you've come. Such improvement.
Damn, son. And with that, he's ready for his first taste of true power.
Eat this.
Yeah, that first taste bit, not a joke. Look, lad, you need to swallow some DNA to inherit the power, and this is by far the least unpleasant way. Breakfast of Champions complete. He hits the UA entrance exam. On the way in, he meets a girl who protects his dumbass from himself. The exam procedure is laid out by Radio 1's most annoying DJ. You know the one. They'll be duffing up some robots, scoring different points for different classes. Questions? Yes. 1. What's the fourth kind of robot? And 2. Can you shut the fuck up?
Sorry.
The fourth robot is just there to spice things up a bit.
It's not that it can't be beaten, but there's kinda no point.
Any more? No? Then game on! Let's fucking go! They'll be fighting in these mock-up city blocks, which, knowing Japan's property prices, must have cost an arm and a leg. Midoriya remembers the tiny amount of advice he's been given. Clench your ass and act good and dramatic when yelling the names of your attacks. He freezes and gets his kill stolen by the most obnoxious character I've seen in an anime yet. A distinctly odd bunch are watching. They decide it's a good time to switch on the fourth kind of robot. Fucking A! Midoriya bricks it, but as he shamefully crawls away, he spots the girl. She's trapped, and while he has no idea what he'll be doing, he knows he'll be doing something. Whatever it was, it worked marvelously. Though that hefty price All Might mentioned will be coming into play now. Both his legs and his right arm have been deboned. But perhaps he can survive this fall from a great height by using another big smash from his one remaining limb. For the second time in one morning, the girl rescues him from tripping over his own dick. She pays her own hefty price. Midoriya's final score? 0. This guy, Ida, figures out that there might be a little more to this test than racking up a monster kill.
Time's up!
And just in time, too. The school nurse shows up to glue everyone back together. After much flapping, Midoriya's test results arrive. All Might reveals that there were indeed other factors. But before he gets to those, he also shows Midoriya that the girl tried to give some of her points to him. But there's really no need.
The kid's charting well on his own.
They also score for style in rescue attempts. Midoriya scored huge in that. And the girl didn't do bad either. Because it's not about the powers. It's about the character of the guy that wields them.
After all, that is what makes a hero.
It's Midoriya's first day at UA High. He finds his classroom. Its door is designed for the taller gentleman. Okay, be cool, be cool.
It's him.
Oh shit. Well, that's the hard part over at least. Oh shit. Anyway, they meet their teacher, Juglato II Atreides. He tells them to quit yapping and go outside for their first exam. That's right, evil never rests, so nor will their school curriculum. And to make sure they don't half-ass it, whoever comes last will be expelled.
That isn't fair!
Oh, and you think natural disasters are?
I mean, he's got a point. They are to do the usual PE track and field decathlon. Only this time, they'll be using their powers. Ida annihilates the 100-meter sprint. This asshole, Yuga, charges his laser. It beats hoofing it. Slightly. Grip strength test. Shoji here literally crushes it. Wait a minute. Feel like I've seen this fella before somewhere. Of course! The girl, Uraraka, launches her shot put into the endless depths of space for aliens to wonder at when they find it 10 billion years from now. Midoriya is running out of events. He'll need to score huge on something soon. But what use is a hero that can only take one shot before going home in an ambulance? That's grounds for expulsion by itself. The teacher stops him from doing that. His power is to erase others' powers. This guy is known as Eraserhead, at least as much as he is widely known. And frankly, he makes an excellent point. So Midoriya finds a middle ground, remembers the only advice All Might has given him,
You have to feel it!
and uses a move I like to call the Finger Blast. Nice. That's a bigger throw than Bakugo's, if only by a ginger one. He takes it poorly. Eraserhead reins him in and tells them to stop making him have to do that. It's very drying on the old eyeballs. Midoriya is dead last.
And I was lying. No one's going home.
Gotcha, suckers! Lesson 1. Take the battlefield as it is, not how you think it is. He goes off to get healed again. It's a lot more knackering this time. That's because he's healing normally, just faster. It still takes energy. He can't do this too often, or it might drain him dry and kill him. As first days go, it could have been worse. Day 2 is where the cape shit begins in earnest. And that means they get their battle rattle. Midoriya sticks with one his mum made him. Which is a nice thought, but... fucking hell.
This bodysuit is skin tight.
I love this school.
Oh, fucking hell. The school staff have clearly read the army research that soldiers survive at dramatically higher rates once they gain the experience of a few engagements, and reached the same conclusion. Give them those engagements now, so they'll benefit from them later. In other words, train hard, fight easy. They form teams of 2 for a simulated battle. One team will be the baddies, who have to defend their nuke till the big LED clock counts down. The other are the goodies, who have to reach the bomb and stop them. Now I should note that this is all well and good, as an excuse to duff each other up. But as a villainous strategy, it violates both Rule 40 of the Evil Overlord Handbook, if I have a super weapon, I will use it early and often, and Common Sense Guideline 420 subsection 69. Try not to be around a nuke when it goes off. Anyway, Uraraka is on Midoriya's team, and he'll be fighting Ida and Bakugo, who opens right away with some sneaky bullshit.
I won't hurt you so bad they'll have to stop the fight! Just close!
Midoriya sees it coming, having known him all their lives, and counters. Uraraka takes the chance to go and find the bomb. Midoriya tries wrapping him up. No dice. Bakugo mixes it up a bit, to be less predictable. His advantage nullified, Midoriya legs it while he tries to think up another. Here's Baki!
That guy has some real anger issues.
Uraraka rushes A, but finds
The bomb has been planted.
Ida really leans into his villainous role. He even reels off a big dastardly speech. He's also thought ahead and cleaned out everything she might try to use anti-gravity on. Now we all know explosions are neat, but if you put one inside some kind of tube to direct it to one specific place, congrats Bakugo, you've invented the firearm.
These are awesome.
Uraraka makes her move on the bomb. It's a nice try, but Ida snatches it away, using his speed. Things are starting to get a little out of hand. All Might reins it in a tad by pointing out that Bakugo is supposed to be defending his position, not making new doors in it. So he gets right up in Midoriya's grill and slaps him about. Midoriya at last resorts to using his power, but not against Bakugo. In the abrupt chaos, Uraraka finds plenty of yeetables, which makes her all the room she needs.
The hero team! wins!
Okay, after action report. And while we're at it,
Reached them.
first of all, MVP was Ida, the only one of them who actually did what he was supposed to, i.e. protect the bomb. Both of the heroes are marked down for their reckless moves around the nuke, although for the record, most nuclear weapons are designed to fail safe, and any kind of tampering outside of an intentional detonation sequence will simply render them inert. Time's a wasting. Next match. Mr. Hunter and Two-Face here are up against Invisigirl and Prehensile Tailman. Invisigirl's plan is to go butt-naked Texas Ranger and hit him by surprise. Two-Face says hi.
Let's kick some ice.
If we're being real, he had this one in the bag from the moment he walked in the door. All the rest take a punt as well. And that's day 2, folks.
Now watch how a pro exits like he's got somewhere to be!
And it's also day 2 for Midoriya ending up in the infirmary. On doctor's orders, he stays parked there all night and most of the next day. The rest of the class are thrilled to see him back. Well, most of them. An egotistical shite he may be, but Midoriya still can't bring himself to let Bakugo stay mad at him. He spills the beans that this isn't a long game to make a fool of him. He only acquired his terrible power recently. But Bakugo's pride isn't soothed.
You'll never beat me again, you bastard!
And when All Might weighs in,
Save your speeches. I'll be more famous than you, and I'll do it without your help.
that doesn't help much either.
Man, being a teacher is hard.
That was kind of a close one. All Might gives Midoriya a bollocking for almost letting their secret slip, but he knows the kid's heart is in the right place. Just think a little harder next time, and don't do it again, okay? The journalists are about. Eraserhead dismisses them with the level of respect befitting their profession. The class's task for today is to choose their representative. But how to do that?
We will hold an election to choose our leader.
And you'll all vote Ida, of course. The God Emperor of June finds this idea quaint, but acceptable. Results are in. Midoriya wins. And Momo will be the Dick Cheney to his W.
Didn't you want to be rep really badly? I mean, you do look the part, because of the glasses.
That's not exactly how we should be choosing our rep.
Hey, it's as good a reason to cast your vote as any. If anything, better than many I've heard. While they discuss Ida's rich and superpowered family, the panic and shit yourselves alarm goes off. Most students do as it tells them, but Ida wonders if there might be a smarter response. With a little help, he anti-gravities over the crowd and tells them to chill.
Listen up! Everything is okay!
Later, after the all-clear is given, Midoriya announces he will be stepping down as rep and giving it to the best man for the job. On his way into work, All Might sees a chance to do some big damn hero shit and just can't help himself. And that leaves him to tuck it out to join them for their next set of training. Rescue! This will be happening at another facility. Damn! How many of these places are there? Is there some kind of superhero industrial complex building all this sprawly shit everywhere? Their rescue teacher is this astronaut dude / legally distinct Michelin man called 13. She built this facility to cover every kind of party a superhero might find themselves in. But today, there's a new addition. Portals full of baddies. That's handy. They immediately notice All Might is missing. Disappointing! Maybe slaughtering these idiots will draw him out. All communications have been cut. Someone will have to make a run for reinforcements. Eraserhead gets stuck in and shows that he's good for much more than wiping out powers. But he's just one guy. His attention wanders, and this portal fella gets past him. Bakugo tries the old nitroglycerin bitch slap, but it's hard to land a hit on the void between dimensions. Portal Guy hits back by teleporting everyone to random points around the arena. It seems he can't materialize them inside the concrete or other such pro-gamer fuckery, but he can still drop them straight in the shit. Midoriya, Sue the Frog Girl, and this dweeb end up on a boat. And the bastards are closing in. Midoriya figures out that while they probably had a plan to deal with All Might, the army of villains doesn't seem to know what the students' powers are, and it's left them a little hesitant. But that won't last, especially while this guy takes the prospect of defeat like this. Midoriya opens by using a super ear flicker to mix things up a bit. Sue tongue lashes them out of there, while this kid strafes them with his power and uses his sticky, sweaty balls to katamari them all together. They take a peek at how Eraserhead's doing. His elbow has gone hell no. Oh man, that's nasty. While all this is going off, All Might is otherwise engaged, with the head teacher, having a nice chat over tea. 13 tells Ida to make a break for it and fetch reinforcements. Hey, Portal Guy, you suck! Unfazed, Portal Guy takes a little time to gloat before using this move, which I like to call blowing your back out.
Thinking with portals.
It leaves 13 unable to walk, but Ida can run. Uraraka spots that Portal Guy isn't 100% Portal, so she anti-grabs this thing, and everyone else starts getting their digs in. As Eraserhead is further ground into paste, Mr. Hands starts thinking about noping out of there. Why now, wonders Midoriya. But before they can make like a tree and fuck off, they'll kill a few students. He goes to dissolve Sue, but Eraserhead stops him in his tracks. Midoriya weighs in hard, and achieves nothing. Just as it seems they've overplayed their hand. By God! Is that All Might's music? He rescues Eraserhead and starts throwing hands. Like Midoriya, All Might just can't bring the hurt to this tanky fella.
Doesn't even matter where I punch you, does it?
How about all that exposed brain? I bet that's good and squishy. His power is shock absorption. He can soak up hit after hit, but that still implies a weakness.
Punch him right in the ball!
Almost. It implies that if you hit him enough, he'll become saturated like a sponge and unable to take any more. All Might goes for a big suplex, but with the power of portals, he gets pinned in a Super 69. Portal Guy clenches and goes for the telefrag. Midoriya can't just watch. He does his trademark, pile in without thinking. Before he can get wrecked, the other students show up and make themselves useful. Bakugo figures out Portal Guy's deal. Why, he's not even 60% portal. Pathetic. You know what's not pathetic? Getting flash frozen and shattered, then shrugging it off. It's just a flesh wound. Cool. Job 1. Free their ticket out of there. All Might ended up eating the hit, but job done. Job 2. Get a good villain speech off.
You're just another government-sponsored instrument of violence.
Job 3.
Kill him. I'll deal with the children.
All Might doesn't have much left in the tank. Just enough to overcome damage absorption. with a fuck ton of damage. And he finishes with a monster slam and a classic slap into orbit. With more or less nothing left, he bluffs and demands their surrender. They call his bluff. Midoriya once again dives to the rescue and blunders right into their hands, and is bailed out by the rest of the staff, who begin mopping up as the leaders teleport out and leave the underlings to catch some bullets for them. They arrive straight into their debrief. Yeah, they kind of fucked it. And yeah, they lost their bioengineered super dude. But valuable lessons were learned, and the costs were acceptable. They'll be back. And that's season 1. What a banger. I kinda loved it. I say kinda, which might sound a little harsher than I intend. There's a lot to like here. But I want to cover a few ways it didn't quite grab me first, just to get it out of the way. How can I put it? It's the villains, man! In my line of work, domination of the multiverse and everything in it, you really develop an appreciation for a charismatic baddie. And in this first season we see a couple of dudes with promise, but they feel like they don't get all that much time to shine. These dudes first appear about 2/3 through, and their entrance could do with some work too.
Presentation!
They just turn up, and as soon as they start getting into their groove, they have to bugger off again. We really don't see a lot of this guy's motivation. Sure, the hands thing he's got going is creepy, but what drives him to his dastardly deeds seems to be that he's a libertarian.
Of course a government hero relies on violence.
And I'm sorry, but I cannot respect an ideology for teenagers that exists to sell the worst book ever written and get people into weekly screaming matches over whether the age of consent is too high.
I'll deal with the children.
The show even calls out this motivation as a bunch of bullshit he doesn't really believe. And that leaves us with very little to go on regarding this guy. The same can be said for about half the class. There's a lot of them, and the price of the show maintaining its otherwise excellent pace is that a lot of these guys don't really get to shine either. Take this Bird fella. What's his deal? He's hardly appeared in this review at all up till now, and he doesn't get much more screen time than I've given him. Or this guy, whose defining trait is that he's kind of French, and using his power for too long gives him the shits. To be clear, that's a totally fair creative decision, and probably the right one. We've all seen what happens when you go too far the other way, and dive too deep into too large a cast of characters. I'm looking at you, George. What's rather more questionable is the horniness. Revolting slimeball as I am, I found much of it quite funny. But some of it left me feeling like I need to take a shower. For instance, Uraraka here.
This bodysuit is skin tight.
She's 15. And so is Sue.
Come on.
On the other hand, I'm painfully aware of what the world of anime is like. This is definitely not the most skeevy thing we're ever going to see on this channel. Like and subscribe! But enough about the bad. Let's discuss the good. The other students in the class are simply delightful. Their powers are neat and well matched to their personalities. Those we've got to know so far are vivacious, colourful, full of beans. Sure, plenty of them we haven't seen much of, but this series is clearly only just getting started. It's their 3rd day. I've got the remaining series sitting on my hard drive waiting to review too, and you better believe I'll be getting stuck in at some point. Subscribe so you don't miss it. The teachers are marvelous too. All Might is a wonderful representation of true strength of character, both as it appears from the outside, flawless and indomitable, and from the inside, as John Wayne put it, being shit scared, but mounting up anyway. He identifies real heroism as being willing to throw yourself into harm's way to protect what and who you care about, no matter the cost to yourself, and knows full well that it isn't a matter of might and power, but one of personal character. I've heard the look of his eyes was designed to convey a deep and piercing insight, in much the same way Odin, king of the Norse gods, was depicted as having sacrificed an eye in order to gain great wisdom. All Might's physical mangling is a little different, but its communication of his profound understanding and the price he pays to win it is just as potent. I love the characterization of the other teachers as well. Eraserhead has clearly seen some shit, stared into the abyss, and been put through the ringer by it. He brings that harsh reality into his classes, not out of vindictiveness, but as a tough love to shatter any rosy illusions and ultimately see that those in his charge suffer for no longer than they need to. And then there's the head teacher. He's adorable and clearly one smart cookie. I want this guy to be my little mate so badly I can hardly put it into words. The soundtrack is bopping, the animation is slick and gorgeous, sometimes rising to pretty damn great. And the story is basic and unambiguous, but compelling nonetheless. And that's fine. You don't always need endless depth and complexity, as long as you execute it well. Take the Shadow of the Colossus. You're a nameless dude trying to save his girl, who duffs up some big fellas. Or Azura's Wrath. You're a very angry demigod who wants to get even. And that's all. They are great, memorable stories because they nail it on the execution, and My Hero Academia does exactly the same. However, not a single one of these guys could possibly stand against Batman in a fight, especially if he had some prep time. Therefore, I must give this series 2 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Did you enjoy this video? Then hit all the buttons. I assume some of them do fun things. What would you like to see next? Please leave me a comment. And with that, I'll see you next time.